That seems positive. So we should probably listen to something other than the fan. That makes more sense. It is a Thursday night. I am a Screaming Wyvern. I call myself Wyvern because it's the first week of Pride Month for 2026. And tonight, my plan is to celebrate a creator who I have streamed works by before. This is not writing games. On Monday, she announced that she had made a major change, which is going to cause a problematic typo in every single one of the role-playing games that I have bought from her. Specifically in the written by column where it says something other than her actual name of December. So I already needed to find a good game by them to play, and I needed to make time to play a game by them because, as mentioned, this will be the third game that I have played. The first one being Rig, which was a single-player tactical mech game, which I quite enjoyed. There was also Dungeon Local. Dungeon Local something or other. Dungeon Local 001, which was a dungeon builder game. And now, actually, I think I should let this try and speak for itself. Let's see if this will work. That will not completely work. Let's not complicate things. He says complicating things. This worked better in my head. Okay, why don't you go ahead and hide that and make this big, and then...
Okay, where's the, where is it? Here we go. Okay, so I think about how corporations aren't really just companies anymore. They span time and space, multiple time zones, countries across the planet. They're made of hundreds, thousands, millions of people these days. They do awful things. They churn the earth, they poison the water, they warm the air, they kill us. They are monsters made of us and prey on us. They break every constraint we try to put on them, and we can't even perceive their schemes unless they fail catastrophically. So I made a game about that. Merger is a single-player, macrocosmic corporate horror role-playing game. You start, how do you start? You start with making a character, and then vices that keep them tied as this corporate amalgam, this literal and figurative monster. There's lawsuits, eldritch rituals, terrible corporate retreats. Fight them and make sure they don't become the dominant form of life. And you roll dice to see how well you do, and you start, the dice suck. You have a D4, a D6, who even uses D4s anymore, so what do? You can get more dice by spending stress. See if you fill in here, get more stress. more dice or bigger dice. So a D4 becomes a D6, maybe even becomes a D8. And why? Because the encounters are generated by the corporations. And the corporations, they always have bigger dice. They get D12s, they get D10s, they even get D20s. And you can't beat that. You can't beat that unless you spend your resources, you spend your stress. Maybe you cut a vice, you cut a complication, you betray your brother, your family, you enact rituals and magic, because if these literal monsters, these massive unknowable things are real, then you take complications, you take harm, it gets worse and worse until
Now, let's hide that before I find out what it auto-selects on me. Okay. I need to... That's not the right thing. This... Okay. This is what I need to show today. So let's go ahead and remove... Nope. There will now be a short pause as I put everything back where it came from. Feel free to hum to yourself. There we go. No. You go back up here. And you go back here. Everyone else makes it look so easy. Oh, yeah. Screaming is a doddle. You just go ahead and everything's there and everything works perfectly the first time. Maybe if I learned to edit, then that would actually work better. Anyway. So, MERGER is a single-player role-playing game about working for a living corporation. It is about the terror of knowing you are part of a massive gestalt monster and bearing witness to the awful things it does. Or everyone you thinks you are a headhunter, a fixer, an employee of a vast law firm, Cane and Weaving. You solve difficult problems and attend to your company's various needs across different time zones and countries. Nothing on Earth is more powerful than the corporation. There is nothing they cannot know, no hidden thing they cannot see, and not a single piece of this world that they cannot buy. And then one day you saw your company for what it really was. You are not an employee. You are the cell of an immense being, a superior form of life made up of millions of people. These unintentionally constructed predators are the only form of life that can live across spans of time and space all at once, and there is nothing on this planet like them. It's not your job to solve problems. It is your assigned function within the corporate body to steal and kill and spy to make your host more powerful than all the others. You'll feed it. You'll defend it. You break barriers so it can grow. Its schemes are so complex, no one can make sense of them unless they fail catastrophically. What you have seen cannot be unseen. You cannot leave, and you cannot stay. If the work doesn't kill you, the corporate body will. It will stare back at you, eat you up, and shit you out. Now get back to work. So obviously this is non-fictional. This is more that December has made observations that I think are absolutely accurate. This is where I start going into a rant about AI companies. Probably you know all of that now. You'll create a character, a single cell of a much larger monster of impossible scope. This character will be given certain tasks by the corporate body, and you will imagine how they overcome those challenges. You will roll dice to determine how difficult these challenges will be. Then you will roll a different pool of dice to see if your character succeeded or failed. As the game progresses, your character will start to succumb to the various stresses placed upon them and will likely perish in the course of their job. You cannot save them. You are a witness to how the corporate body destroys human life. What you need: 6 4-sided die, 6 6-sided die, 6 8-sided die, 6 10-sided die, 6 12-sided die, and 2 20-sided die. A copy of these rules, which conveniently I have here. Character sheet available at notwriting.itch.io/merger, which you can see underneath my shining visage, my face here. Writing tools, pen and paper, a digital document, a live stream, and an hour or 2 per session. Extended safety guide, obviously of vital importance. Unfortunately, I do this for the amusement of those people who watch, and therefore I'm not allowed to not do anything that could make me uncomfortable. In Merger, your character is made up of... That's not true. I'm sorry to anyone who's, just subscribed based on me promising that, I would do literally anything for a view. That's not actually how it works. So, characters here will be completely randomized. So, your character is made up of skills, items, a bond, and a vice. These are your character's traits, which are represented by dice of various size, a D4, a D6, a D8, or a D10. You will notice that did not say anything about D12s. Those go straight to the corporation. Follow the steps on the following pages to make your character. You'll need 1 6-sided die. For each trait, roll 1d6 to determine the type of trait, common, uncommon, or rare. Then roll again to get a trait within that type. So, for example, we're going to go ahead and grab this 6-sided die, and we're going to go ahead and roll it. That has given us 6. Here, we see that 6 is the rare list of names. So we go ahead and we roll this again. And our character, who was nearly called Banks, is going to be called Lux. Okay. Now, the thing of interest here is that if you look at the character sheet, I have room for 3 skills. If I get lucky and happen to roll the same skill more than once, then my skill will improve. So here are our commons. Here are all of our skills. So let's go ahead and make you a giant die. That sounds like fun. Rawr. Okay. Let me also... Can I make you... Yes, you should use gravity. I always hate this a little bit because it never... Okay. Let's not do that, because then I don't feel like it's actually doing anything. Okay, roll. It goes up in the air. There we go. A rare skill. The exact skill is athletics. Athletics is a D8 skill. Roll 1. That's a 1. And that is also a 1. So that is delegation, a D4 skill. Back to rare skills. 4, empathy. That doesn't sound very corporate of me, but so delegation, there's always people who earn less than you and therefore have to do what you say. It feels like that should be the antithesis of empathy. Although empathy is less of a skill and more of a curse. You hear everything. And athletics, where are you? Fleeing, jumping, scrambling, kicking, fighting. All right. I now get 3 items. The first item is going to be a common one. A lucky token. With the lucky token being a D4 item. Next is another rare item. And this is going to be unexpensive drugs. No, that's going to be expensive drugs. No cheap drugs for us. No, we go straight for the expensive drugs. Another roll on rare items. And an obsidian credit card, obviously. A good thing. So, your lucky token is a totem carving coin, something small that has never done you wrong and has no capacity to betray. Everything is fine. The obsidian credit card, there is an upper limit somewhere. And, of course, nothing says, I belong here, like medicating yourself to deal with the body count hidden behind the numbers. Okay, we get 1 bond, which is your character's personal connection to the corporate body who employs them. This is why they can't just leave or ignore what is happening. 4 is an uncommon bond. And 5 is a vice. That's slightly confusing because vice is also a... it's also a stat, but... they provide an experience you can't find anywhere else. This doesn't have to be the same as your vice. As your vice. But it could be. Uncommon vices again. And adrenaline. Frankly, I don't see that being a bad combination. The reason why I work here is because I'm an adrenaline junkie, and my biggest vice is being an adrenaline junkie. I get high off of the excitement of what I do, despite knowing the problems there are inherent in what I do them for. Extreme sports and other stunts that make you take your life into your hands. What connections has this gotten you? See, if we're doing the vice as my bond, then it's one of those situations where there's kind of a loop going on. So I'm not going to read the rules. I've been through. But here's the important summary. We read the encounter and we imagine the scene. This is what I feel is a hybrid between a purely journaling game and a purely RPG game. Obviously, we have a character sheet. We're going to gain experience. We're going to improve. But also, there's enough room here for us to tell our own story. So we're going to create the corporate die pool. So they're going to get a die for there being an encounter. They're also going to get a die for themselves. I'm going to go ahead and quickly make a new one of these. Bloop. Okay, throw those over with the rest of the sixers. And then as I get corrupted, it's going to be harder for me to fight against them. So then we make the corporate roll. And the two highest results together. So if they ended up with, like I said, corruption is going to be 3. So, or an extra die. So that would make 3. So they use an 8-sided die. So here's the 1 die for us doing an encounter, 1 die for that. We go ahead and add another one if I have corruption. We go ahead and roll that. And so there's a 1 here and there's an 8. So we throw out the 1. Pretty easy. And then I decide how I'm going to do things. So I get to use a die based on traits that I'm willing to use. If I have been successful, I can do corporate secrets. I can push myself by taking stress and copying a die or enlarging a die, which is obviously a difficult choice. If I'm doing 2 6-sided die, does it make more sense for me to get a 3rd 6-sided die? Or does it make more sense for me to take an 8-sided die as well? I can also sacrifice one of my traits. So lose one of my skills, lose one of my items, lose my bond, lose my vice, which will give me less things available to me for the future. But gives me an immediate potential bonus. So, same as with them, I roll the dice and I add the 2 highest results together. If I roll less than the corporate roll, I fail, and there's consequences. If I meet or slightly beat, then I get a mixed success, and I get to choose a benefit and a consequence. And if so they roll 4, I roll 8. Complete success. All 4 benefits. I am going to quickly grab a copy of this page. There we go. So let's get started. MEAT, pioneers in patented medicine, unethical experimentation, and drug price fixing. MEAT has a history of buying smaller pharmacies, drug companies, and other minor corporate bodies and merging them into their esoteric schemes. Several essential life-saving medicines are provided exclusively through their various subsidiaries. MEAT has hired Kane and Weaving in your character to cover up some controversial business decisions. Little do they know, Kane and Weaving will use these secrets to secure their own merger with MEAT. Encounter 1. Meat's employees are planning to unionize. Will you help organize the workers or destabilize their efforts? So, the question here is if I'm taking these actions to help the company or help my company. When it comes to employees unionizing, it could go either way. That could be a long-term benefit for Meat. It could be make things easier on Kane and Weaving later. I think the first thing that I can get out of this is that I have empathy. And either way I decide to go, empathy is going to help here. I also think it's safe to say that having a credit card with no limits is going to help as well. Okay. So I've Canon Weaving. Can't say we have been asked to help with some business decisions that have been made by Meat to protect them. It seems like unionizing the workers is not going to look like we're doing that much to try and protect Meat. So I believe here in this first encounter, my responsibility is unfortunately going to be to try and sabotage the unionizing efforts. So this is less the corporate dice pool and more the workers dice pool in this case. That is a large number. I will not be able to beat that very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and let myself be stressed to give myself an extra die. That is a 4 and a 1 and a 4. Obviously that's an 8 against their 8, 13. So consequences. First off, I get 2 more stress. Then I need to mark a complication. The possible complications are up to me. So this is harm or promises or legal proceedings or whatever. I know that in the nature of this game, that lost face could be literal, but it's socially in this case. So I feel like in this particular situation, what's going to be damaged as far as traits are concerned is that the buying power of the Obsidian credit card is going to be worth less. I can't just flash it and get anything I want anymore. And of course, now I have to try again. So we'll go ahead and get rid of my extra die. They, of course, are the same. And so I'm looking at an 11 right now. I think that the empathy, which was a D8, is still going to be perfectly valid. I think this time around, instead of just trying to flash money, I'm going to go ahead and invite certain influential members of the union organization to a private party at my apartment as we discuss their plans. That was flip. I want roll. Thank you. That is a 7. That is not good. Okay, so same as before. Add 2, and that means that I now have a corruption. Clearly, I am not having the desired ability to empathize with people that I thought I had. So that's what's going to go down. Oh. Named in paper as person of interest, criminally speaking. Okay, so because of that corruption, they now get an extra die. So I am going up against a 9 this time. A 9 is not nearly as bad as some of the stuff that I've had to deal with. So I'm going to go ahead and keep using my drugs as a benefit. But because I'm a person of interest right now, I'm going to use delegation, and I'm going to make it someone else's problem. And then I'm going to go ahead and replace that 4 with a 6-sider. So I'm going to get at least 2, and at most 14. Okay, that is an 8. That is a 9. I'm beginning to think that Lux is going to lose their position here. Okay, obviously I can't reduce delegation anymore, so it's going to have to be the drugs. And of course, the person that I delegated to has decided that they didn't like doing what I was telling them to do. Okay. I have 1 corruption. Everything else is the same. So I have 12. I have to go up against 12. I'm going to try and rely on my empathy, but I am going to burn my lucky token. So I have 1 chance to use a 20-sider. Yes, at this point, I think it's safe to say that Lux has completely fouled up their mission. And we're going to go ahead and start from scratch here. Okay. So let's go back and let's see who Lux's replacement will be in the company. Now, we do know that our new character is going to have to deal with the Union, which might be useful if it weren't for the fact that this is randomized, which is, in fact, why this is randomized, I sure betcha. Okay. A common name. Imran. That's not common around here, but okay. Common skill. Strategy. A rare skill. Sales. An uncommon skill. Research. Okie dokie. So, strategy. You know how to solve problem from multiple angles. Sales. Convincing people to buy things they don't need, often with money that they don't have. And research. Finding buried bodies, searching archives, and blackmail. Well, that's obviously extremely useful. Common. A wad of cash. Not quite as impressive as an obsidian credit card, but always a nice thing to have. An uncommon item. A private business. Look forward to seeing the deets on that. And another common item. A more effective wad of cash. And we're back to the lucky token. So, not necessarily the best options for items, but they say money talks, but they can't really hear it. Not like you can. You hear it every moment of the day. And my other thing is a private business. A side gig that has remained profitable. Who runs it for you? What do they do? Is it a front? A tax dodge? I think that's a good thing to leave as a question mark for now. Okay, so this is my bond with the company. Friends. All my friends work here. I can't leave. I'd be abandoning my friends. Everyone in your social circle is part of the corporate body. You spend a lot of time in there. Common vices. Gambling, always a popular one. Okay. Now, this is kind of an interesting situation. So, again, meat gets 2 dice. However, when it comes to helping a union, I actually have a lot of options on this character sheet now. Oh, I forgot to delete the complications. Goodness knows I don't want to still have those. So let's go ahead and see what we're up against. 6. Okay. So obviously, I can research the people who are putting this union together. And I can go ahead and try to bribe them. So currently I have a chance, very small one, but a chance nonetheless, to go ahead and double what they rolled. I think one thing that's really important here is if I don't go directly as a clear representative of Canaan weaving, but go ahead and use my private business to make things a little bit less messy. And I'm also going to go ahead and accept the stress penalty to upgrade one of my 6s into an 8, which slightly increases my chance of getting a double. So let's roll these puppies. And I ended up with a 1 and a 6. So I did beat them. Okay. If you get a mixed success, then you choose one thing to do. Gain stress, mark a complication, decrease a trait, or repeat an encounter. I am going to go ahead and add a complication. So I was using research, money, and my private business. Private business linked to KNW. But I also get an improvement. So I can or a benefit. I could increase a trait. I could learn a corporate secret. I feel like overall increasing a trait is going to be the best decision I could make. And I think that I'm going to go ahead and improve the power of my private business. I may have linked it to K&W on accident, but it's still going to be useful. So this is still an 8 and an 8. Let's go ahead and restore my stuff to their proper piles. Meat is being sued by a government. Will you help defend them or leak their secrets? Since I don't currently know all their secrets, it's hard to leak that much. I have some ideas. Let's see how powerful my opposition is going to be. 13 is a very powerful opposition. Okay, so I'm going to need to rely on my private business again. I'm going to use my own research skills. And I'm going to go ahead and rely on my friends at the company. I don't see how sales helps me in this situation. So let's go ahead and, just like before, take the stress to improve a die, because I really can't win otherwise, as far as I can tell. There's a 6. Unfortunately, this one doesn't help, leaving me at 11. And 13 remains heavier than 11. Okay, so number 1, we're all the way up to a corruption. I'll go ahead and give them the extra die for that. I need to I think I'm going to have to burn my relationship with my friends. Through friend under legal bus. Okay, so stress, complication, trait, and of course, now we have to start again. Oh dear. So I'm going up against 16. Well, we'll still do stuff through my private business. That's always going to be useful. Research is also going to be useful. But I think since I've already thrown my friends under the legal bus, that really leaves me no reason to bother having friends as my bond to the company. Okay, so remove the lowest one, and that's number 22. Is 22 higher than what they rolled? obviously, it's not double, unfortunately. So I don't get to say I have a perfect success. Let's just go ahead and be stressed by the outcome of this. Part of me wants to move my private business to the D10, but I think for now I'm just going to increase my research skill. Okay. This is where things get problematic, because one of these is being traded up for a tenner. A corporate officer has been embezzling funds. Do you make them disappear or take advantage of the scam? Well, so far, I've kind of done a bad job of destabilizing the employees and leaking the secrets, although slightly successful, not really that impressive. So, oh, golly. Okay, I'm up against a 15. So, the research opportunities provided by my private business gives me a possibility of beating that. Not a very good one. I really need a huge success. 15. I need a 30. Can I do a 30? No, it would be stupid to burn my lucky totem for this. 15. So if they're embezzling, I can probably give them a place to spend their ill-earned goods. Yeah, let's give her a shot. That was an insufficient shot. 13. So stress goes up. I'll let the sales go down. So I was caught helping to launder money. And then we have to try again. Okay. So this time, we're only going up against a 10. So if this time around I'm going to use my private business to help research, I can burn my token for luck and see if I can get a double a 10. $17 is not quite double a 10. It is a success, but it could be better. So far, everything that I've needed to do... Oh, no. Oh. When I got that corruption, I also got an insight. I just... Oh, I've been doing that completely wrong. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and burn Imran. I don't believe that they are going to be able to provide anything. So, yeah, if I burn something, that stresses me out further. So, in addition to a corruption, I can have luck, which, if I get the same character, the same number twice, then I can add another die of whatever type. Or if I have a, if I know a corporate secret, then I can use Saboteur to make it more so. I can replace the 2 stress to push myself to just 1, or I can replace my additional 1 stress that I kept forgetting about. You cheating monster! Okay. So this is Kanan Weaving's 3rd attempt. Blip, 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 bloop. Okay, an uncommon name. This will be Dior. A rare skill, Rituals. That's a D10. I like that. Another rare skill. I kind of wanted that to keep flipping. That would have been awesome. But no, instead I get management, which is nothing to sniff at. Finally, a rare skill. And this one is going to be empathy again. Okay. A rare item. An ancient tome. That goes well with the ritual skill. Haven't decided yet how that's going to help me with the unions. Uncommon item. Ooh. Dior comes from a well-known family name. I feel like the name Dior is a good enough family name. And a common item. An encrypted phone. And that is a D4. Okay. I feel like all of those are pretty cut and dried. So my bond with the company they are providing someone close to me with medication. They are treating someone. I think that they're providing treatment for a child. That's both something that would explain why I'd be sticking around no matter what, and also, unfortunately, gives me something that I can burn if I need to. Another common vice. My vice is violence. Boxing, target shooting, martial arts, fights in alleyways. Okay, so Dior has been sent to help meet. Now, I am very much of the opinion at this point that they are planning to destabilize the union, because if the workers have more power, that's going to be a hindrance to cane and weaving later on. So what am I up against? I'm up against 8. That's not too bad. My management skills and my natural empathy. It doesn't hurt for me to be a little bit threatening. And I also think that I have my family name to grease some wheels. So yeah, I've got a lot of skills or traits that I can go to in this case. Okay, so 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 beats 8. That's this and this for the record. Okay, so I think a good complication here is that they recorded some threats. But I think I can go ahead and take advantage of corporate secrets. Okay, so now we're dealing with them being sued by a government. So I can defend them or I can leak their secrets. We're going to work on leaking their secrets. I've already managed to sabotage the unionizing efforts. 10. So obviously I've got that as a freebie. My management and my empathy. Honestly, I think it's the same thing. So 8, 12. I'm trying for 10. I really want this to be a situation where I can go ahead and start throwing in dark rituals, but okay. I have 10, so I have at least met. I have not stressed myself yet, so let's go ahead and take that as my disadvantage. And let's go ahead and up the corporate secrets by 1, which is good. A corporate officer has been embezzling funds. Will you make them disappear or take advantage of the scam? Another 10. So I start off with D6. When you say make them disappear, just how disappeared do you mean? I'm going to go ahead and do it. We want them to disappear, right? Well, I've got a sacrificial a tome and I know rituals, so I can make them probably disappear by quite a bit. That right there is a 10. I have a 12. They have a 10. Again, I'd love it to be higher, but I'll take a bit more stress. And I'll go ahead and get that corporate secrets up further. Okay. A secret group of researchers are trying to extract fluids from the company's monstrous body. And they're doing quite a good job with it, too. Okay. So we want to weaken it so that Canaan weaving will have the ability to work with it later. 8, 9, 10, 11. So I definitely don't want to risk a D6. So management and empathy to get the researchers to do their jobs even better. An ancient tome and a ritual to make them more effective. Okay, that's a lot of ones. So 6, 7, 8, 9. That was unsuccessful. So right off the bat, but I'm going to go ahead and take luck as an insight. Don't want to record it again. Good enough. Caught assisting strange research. I know I didn't really use it here, but I think that I can burn my family name a little bit. Okay, so corruption means that they get another corporate body roll. Okay, same thing as before. We are trying to get these researchers to do better at extracting fluids from the monstrous body. So we take out the 3 and we have 10. I have my D8 for the corporate secrets. I still think that it's a good idea to use otherworldly assistants and, of course, between giving them ideas and whatever I am using, so let's see, I have a 10. I am going up against the 10. I cannot currently double, so this is good enough by me. Okay, I have a 6 and a 5, which is 11, so that's a beat. I'm going to accept some more stress. I am going to improve a skill. I've been using management for a lot of things. let's go ahead and improve that. And now this gets replaced with a D12. My employer wishes to merge with this company. Does your character help or stay out of the way? I've been doing all this work so far to weaken the opponent, so I am definitely helping. Okay, I am up against... Oh, no. I'm up against 12. Okay, so it's going to be the same as last time, where I'm going to use a combination of dark magic, what I know about the company, and my management skills. Fortunately, I can't get a 24 with this, so... and I got a 9. So... if it weren't for me needing to add their numbers together, I'd be fine. So let's go ahead and stress myself out some more. I'm dropping my empathy, so... considered hard to talk to. Okay. I would really like this number to be something teeny tiny. I've not been in a position where I can get... Okay, that was good. Oops. So that means that I could potentially get a 16 using my management and ritual skills. Obviously, I need my tome, and I've always got that going for me. So, yeah, 8. 8 should be very doable here. And there is 9. That wasn't as high as I would like, but sometimes you take what you can get. So I don't regain anything, and I lose my corporate secrets. So I am going to go ahead and accept another point of corruption so that I can get another insight. And then I'm going to use the benefit to clear that corruption. Badger! This corporate body owns several television channels, streaming services, film productions and companies, and family entertainment venues like cruise ships and theme parks. They have grown by leaps and bounds in the modern information age, despite their various news channels often spewing untrue statements, fear-mongering, and sharing bigoted opinions and coverage. Screaming Wyvern wishes to acquire the conglomerate to expand its own influence across the globe. Your character will have several problems to solve in order to get there or hinder Screaming Wyvern's progress. So one of their employees is attempting to blackmail the company. So that starts them. There's their company die, there's my corruption die, and there's the encounter die. So, will I hunt down the person trying to blackmail the company or help them? Once again, I'm trying to weaken Badger. You see, it's funny because a badger is kind of a rodent, like a fox. Let's see what I'm up against. I'm up against a 10. Will you hunt them down or help them? So I don't feel like blackmail is something that you can easily use your dark magics with, but I can rely on my management skills and my empathy to try and clear some of the extra information away, and it wouldn't hurt to be able to make some phone calls that no one can track, and it never hurts to use a little bit of violence to help yourself. So that right there is a 10. I've got a 14, which means I beat their 10. So that's a good thing. I'm going to accept a little bit of stress here. And do I want the corporate secrets or do I want one of my skills upgraded? I liked having that phone. I think I'm going to improve that. Several government bodies are opposed to your merger. Will you find legal loopholes? I will absolutely be finding loopholes. But with them at a 13, that's going to be a little hard. I was able to upgrade the phone. I don't think that violence would be extremely helpful in this situation. So this is management. I don't think that empathy is going to do much good. I'm going to go ahead and push myself so that I can have another 10. That was brutal watching that go from something to 1. 5, 4, 1. I don't even get to use my luck. So this one is a colossal failure. So 2 stress. Something needs to go down. I'm going to go ahead and give up on my empathy completely. And that puts us back to the beginning with a 12 that I'm going up against. I still don't see how. I'm going to go ahead and burn empathy. The next time I sacrifice a trait, it'll only cost 1. Because I'm already untrustworthy and hard to talk to. It's not really losing me that much. Uh, 6 and 4 and 5. That is terrible. So yeah, that is a genuine end to Dior's attempts, as Dior is running into a complication because let me just make sure. Mark a complication. If you would mark, your character can suffer 5 complications. Okay. Well, I hate to do this because I increased it before. Okay. Management. Oh, wait. Too soon. Too soon. Too soon. I have 2 corruption. Well, that's impressive. Okay, so I've got the 4 and the 3. So that's only 7. Several government bodies are opposed to your merger. I still have my management skills. I'm going to go ahead and burn my phone. I know I'm going to regret that later, but this would be a perfect chance for me to get my hands on nothing but benefits if I can roll a 14 or greater. That is a 14 or greater. Nice change of pace. Okay. So, I get to clear all of my stress. I get to clear a complication. Obviously, I've burned through my empathy completely. And I get to increase a trait. We're going to go ahead and use violence, because when has violence ever not solved a problem? Okay. Oh. Clear all stress, clear complication, increase a trait, and corporate secrets. Oh, I may have cheated earlier. I don't think that I'm supposed to mark 2 stress and then... What made me think I could reduce corruption? Okay, yeah, I flat out cheated because I made up a whole new thing. So the company is secretly in massive debt. Will you eliminate those responsible or expose the secrets? Since, as always, the plan is to weaken them, we're going to expose the debt. 6 plus 7. No, 8 plus 7. So yeah, we're going up against 15. So between my ability to manage people and my ability to commit violence, $15, man. Like, I've got 1 corporate secret. Yeah, I'm going to have to hope for luck. Okay, I got 2 4s, so that is an 8. And I'm going to go ahead and add this roll to it, thanks to my luck. And that's a 9, so that would be 17. I can accept some stress right now. And I can become even more effective at violence. But, oh wait, no. That was one benefit, one... Okay. Corporate officers gather in ritual spaces once a week. Will you infiltrate this inner circle or expose them? Why expose them for something I'm more than happy to do myself? So a 9 and a 6 is a 15. But this time, I have access to my rituals, which of course requires the ancient tome. And just good old-fashioned... The ancient tome is not a 10. The ancient tome is an 8. Good old-fashioned violence. So 5 plus 7 plus 3 plus 2. I've got nothing doubled up. A 5 and a 7 is 12, and I'm going up against a 15. So that is a failure. Well, crap. Okay. Giving it one more try. Stress, complication, reduced stat. All good. Uh, 17. So this is almost a guaranteed failure, but let's go ahead and try it anyway. Yep. And now, I managed to let Dior survive a lot longer than my first two fools, but now she too has been subsumed into the system. So that was Merger, an excellent game, a difficult game, but definitely an excellent one. So once again, congratulations to December, and happy Pride to all. I'm not sure what I'll do next week as usual, but I will be here. And I hope you will be too. And until then, remember to be one of the good ones, because there are way too many of the bad. And I'll see you then. Good night.